Lads, we are here. It's the Wednesday episode, which means Alex is on campus. I'm tired from class. I was trying to think of something for Daniel, but I couldn't. Everyone stopped listening. How are you guys?
I'm good. I'm in a different spot today because someone stole my spot from last week.
Oh, you should have told them, don't you know I have a podcast?
You should go up to them, interview them. Like, excuse me, sir. Why did you feel...
What makes you feel the right to have that spot?
We used to do in first year where we would do our story day. I'm pretty sure we went around together one time.
First day of lab, Daniel and I, Alex, obviously you were not in our lab, but you would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Go out and ask people in the streets what they think about the legalization of marijuana.
I remember that.
How do you think it went? No one wanted to talk about it.
Oh, really?
Or they give you an answer, and then they wouldn't tell you their name.
Yes.
That was the worst.
I don't remember I know exactly what assignment you're talking about, but I don't think I did the legalization of marijuana, though.
You're lucky. I remember Daniel and I were walking around like the courtyard, like in the middle of Kerr Hall. You know what I mean? And there's just a woman who's just sitting to music in the middle of it. And we're asking like, hi there, do you have a second? She's like, I'm studying. No, you're not. That was awful. I'll never forget that. I also remember this one time to get someone to talk to us. This one girl, like outside of, I don't remember what it was. Daniel, you'll remember this. They were setting up for some production that night, and Daniel's like, if you speak to me, I'll come back and help you out later. And he did. I forget what it was. It was some sort of movie thing, and yet he went and helped out.
I went and helped out. It was pretty nice.
You followed through.
Yeah, I felt kind of awkward though because it was just I didn't realize how big the crowd was.
Yeah.
And then I did the thing Alex taught me. Well, like a lot later. If you don't have a media pass, just show up. Just show up. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, they're like, oh, are you a ticket holder? Or are you part of media? I'm like, I'm part of media. And then the guy's like, okay. Like he didn't even check if I had a media pass or anything.
We gotta try and do that for a Leafs game one time. And just be like, oh, we're.
I heard it's quite difficult. That it would not work that way.
We won't know if we don't try.
No, Jeff and Elliot will see you guys, and they're like, "Oh no, yeah, they are part of media. Don't worry."
Okay.
You have to wear the red shoes, though, Adam.
Of course. I actually don't know where they are. I'll have to get them. Oh, we should probably talk about hockey now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that no one's listening to the show anymore. Okay. Again, we're at the time of the year when I don't care about speculation. I want news. We have some news to speak of. Later on in the show, Mike will be joining us to talk about the Rangers.
Awesome.
We were gonna talk about the Habs with somebody, but that didn't work out. So it'll be the three of us and all that. And we will. I did, to be fair, sneak in Ben Chiarot any chance I could last episode with everyone we talked to, and I will do it with Mike later.
Thank God.
That was so funny. When Curtis was like he was carried by Shea Weber and you on the first for him. Listening to that back, I almost cried. It was so funny. Anyway, I messaged, and there was somebody saying that the Panthers still had interest in Chiarot. We're going to get to it later. I sent it to Baumgartner. He just said, boo. And he hasn't spoken to me since. So, you know, that's how I'm being felt.
Adam's burning bridges just for Ben Chiarot.
I am doing my part to raise a campaign. I can't wait for Habs fans to start saying Caulfield should win the Calder, by the way, because I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you believe it?
No, you can't score 1 or 2 goals in 30 or 40 games. And then, now if he ends up like top 3 in scoring by the end of the year, I think there's a case, but it's a stretch for even me to say he could win it. But I mean, he's been ridiculous. He scored 2 goals in 8 seconds last night.
Yeah.
He is a completely, I can't see how many times I can say this on the show, but man, Dog Ducharme sucked.
Are we sure?
I was talking to Will about this, and he got me. He sent a little thing to me. Let me see if I can.
Which Will?
Baldwin, the tall one. He said in the first 30 he had 8 points. Since St. Louis taken over, he has 17 points in 14 games.
Yeah, no, it's definitely ridiculous, and like there, at some point, it has to be soon. Someone's gonna have to write an article, or maybe it's already been done, but. I want to see what the hell changed between last season and the start of this season. Like, yes, other than the obvious that they lost their starting franchise goaltender and they're an elite top pairing defenseman and a shutdown centerman, but there has to be something else because no one else looked right. No one else looked right.
Carey Price isn't the one who's making Cole Caulfield score. He didn't play with Phil Deneau. I think he did for when he first showed up. But like obviously, it makes it more and more difficult for me to try and give Dom Ducharme any credit for when he was off the bench against Vegas, because that was Caulfield's most dominant series. Like he didn't need William and Suzuki, but they were just a force. Even in the tail end of that Tampa series, it's so difficult to sort of. I've tried to give Dom Ducharme credit, but it becomes more and more difficult. It's just sort of the thing of like the usage is like the rest of the team. He had that poor start, and then they just never gave him a chance. They sent him down. They tried him in the top 6 only because everyone else was hurt. It's just I've never seen a coach so clearly be a detriment to a player before. It's insane. Maybe Duclair and Tortorella, but like this is so much different because it's such a younger guy and a more important piece of a team. All due respect to Anthony Duclair, an all-star, but Cole Caulfield is, I mean, what he's shown when he's been going and under Marty St. Louis has been like the man's a future star. He's so fun and he's so creative. Like what he's able to do in like isolated spaces, especially under pressure, especially on the power play. The man's a wizard with the puck sometimes. He's such a joy to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Duclair's a good example because he kind of went from place to place and then would have these good spurts, right? Like, you look at him in Ottawa, and then he went to Columbus. That did not work.
No. He just didn't have a coach that respected skill.
Right, and you have a player who, like, there's players who can play in the top 6, in the bottom 6, and there's players who can't play in the bottom 6. Not that they can't, you're not going to get the most out of them. And I think we're all very much in agreement on this show is that you want to get the most out of the players possible. And playing Cole Caulfield in the bottom 6, it's not going to work. Sorry, like I think the point I was trying to make was playing him in the bottom 6 to start makes no real sense to me. Like if we looked at like William Nylander played on the third line for a little bit last week, I think. And that was because he was demoted to the third line. Like that's a different ball game. But you're talking about a player who can clearly play in the top 6 and you're not utilizing him.
We were talking about like, at some point Cole's got to put it in the back of the net. Like we were really talking about toward the time that Dom was fired. But all of that's just gone down the toilet. Like how stupid does it look all these months later? How stupid it was to send him to the AHL this season. It's criminal. I am so convinced if Marty St. Louis had been the coach from the start, I think Cole would be leading the Calder, and I don't think it would be a question of who's winning it this year. And instead of like now we have this, and I'm not taking away from the rookies this year because now we have a very interesting race with Sider, with Raymond, with Lundell, with Bunting.
You didn't say Zegras.
Actually, I meant Zegras too. Okay. Wherever you stand on that debate, those are the guys this year. You know what I love about Caulfield? I never shut up about the 2019 draft, like though the American draft. Like, yeah, think about that: Spencer Knight, Cole Caulfield, Cam York. I'll fix my mic because apparently it hates me. I hate technical difficulties. So never mind. Daniel.
Yes.
Talk about Trevor Zegras, just because you brought him up. I don't know why. Make a case for his Calder while I try and fix this.
I don't know. I'm just I admit, like, the stats kind of tapered off a bit. I know that he was on a super hot streak right now. If I look up at his numbers right now, I know that they're not all-star level, I'll say right now, but he gave like a lot of good a lot of good like moments, I think, that we'll remember for this season and what is to become of Trevor Zegras. Like, okay, not too bad. 44 points, 56 games. You know, I know, grain of salt, because the way the Ducks play, he's a -20 this year.
Doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything. But
is it better now, Alex, by the way?
Yeah.
I think he has a case to be nominated.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a lot closer. Like, you're not going to, I don't want to say like, oh, it's going to be like a Dominic Kubalik kind of thing, because it's just not like hate to say it's not a one trick pony kind of thing. I think it's just going to be just an indication of what's to come. And yeah, whatever happens, because I think that this season, the crop of who can be the Calder winner is just on a different echelon.
Yeah. Speaking of that 2019 draft.
Yes.
I love Caulfield scores the game-winning goal in overtime. What an absolute bullet. And then what sort of happens every time Cole plays the Flyers now, it will continue to happen, is that video of the Flyers viewing party where they think that the Flyers are about to take Cam York at 14th, and instead, they think they're gonna take Caulfield at 14. They take Cam York, and everyone gets really disappointed. Makes me feel so good.
Was Chuck Fletcher GM in 2019? I believe so.
Wasn't he hired in like 2018-ish? So, Daniel, do you mind checking that quickly?
Yep, I'll check that out.
That's got to be the funniest thing.
And that Flyers win was Marty St. Louis' 8th win as Habs head coach.
Is that as many as Don Ducharme?
Yes. Yeah, and then they lost against Arizona, but we don't care because it was good. It was fine. They needed to. That was a must-lose game for the Tank. So we're fine.
The Tempe Coyotes.
Yeah, the Tempe.
Yes, to confirm, Chuck Fletcher was hired in December 2018.
Okay, yeah. So he made the decision to get the defenseman. Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did they trade there again? They traded down, right? No.
I don't remember.
Yes, they traded the pick that became Victor Soderstrom
with Arizona.
And they got the 45th pick to move down 3 spots. And that is, I'm going to say this. Oh, they also traded a pick to Nashville. Well, we won't look at that one, but it's Igor Afanasyev.
Oh, that's okay. Well, it's not Cole Caulfield, so good. He's ours. Suck it. We're going to talk about the Josh Manson contract. So not contract, the deal a little later for Colorado and that. But maybe it sets a market for the Chiarot sweepstakes. Apparently interested are Carolina, Calgary, still Florida, St. Louis. From Pierre LeBrun. Minnesota may be in it too. And apparently Montreal are amongst the teams speaking to Minnesota about Jack McBain. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? They do need a centerman, and maybe that would solidify, an ability to maybe trade Christian Dvorak. I don't know.
It's a lot of money, though.
What?
Christian Dvorak.
Yeah, I mean, it's like $4 million. I know they're going to be tight for the cap, but if you want a cost-effective centerman, I think Dvorak's like the right option. It's just, can you keep him and also give Fiala a big deal, right?
Sending Dvorak to Minnesota? Is that what the suggestion is?
I would assume so.
That would be like, I think it's both ways though. I think it'd be good for Minnesota. I guess, like, as you were saying, Adam, like that's a player that they could use, but I'm trying to look for players as cheap as possible because they have no cap.
Well, you got to think of how many centers can play in the top 6 making less than $5 million. Yeah. It's just, but then you remember dead cap space. They are so boned, and they are not looking like they're going to do anything of consequence in the playoffs this year.
And it's a big thing too. I think they're just in a weird position right now because the Wild, they tend to be one of those teams that they pick a lot out of the NCAA.
Yeah.
And they don't have any leverage right now with Jack McBain.
Okay.
And at the same time, they lost Philip Lindbergh last year from UMass when he went to the Penguins.
So they were nervous about Russia because of what happened with Gaborik.
No, Gaborik.
Russian, sorry, but you know what I mean?
No,
there was a certain thing there. Kaprizov maybe changed their mind, but there was the KHL threat. They're worried about free agents in college. They're running out of leagues to draft from. I just want to say, you're running out of leagues, Minnesota.
Which is funny because last year Michael Russo commented on like what the strength was of the Minnesota Wild in terms of drafting. Like, for example, like Matt Boldy, that's another American pipeline type of guy.
Yeah.
And the picks you see, like I think I mentioned one time in an article, is just like the picks between one Russian player to another was Anton Khudobin in 2004 to Kirill Kaprizov in 2015.
So
like they didn't select a Russian in like that time period.
But Adam, I think to answer your question, on, or I guess to go back to your statement about how many $5 million top six centers there are. You're right. There's barely any out there. And I think they kind of have one of them, 5.25 for Joel Eriksson for the next 7 years after this one. And then it's just going to be a lot of relying on the young guys. And that's Marco Rossi and Matt Boldy. Like it's not great, but
that's awful.
Wait a minute. Are you saying Ryan Hartman's not a center?
I'm saying Ryan Hartman's not a center, but like I know they have Kaprizov for 4 more years after this one, and I'm not trying to look that far ahead, but I wonder if from Minnesota's perspective, they don't view this as the time to win. I wonder if they view this the next couple of years where they have that large dead cap hit as getting those young guys into the NHL. And when that dead cap hit goes away, they have all this free cap space to go after and make splashes in the UFA, in free agency and in the trade market. Just an idea.
How long is that going to be? 2 or 3 years? I don't want to say that.
I'm just going to double check. So then 3 years of about 14 or 13 next year, and then 15 the 2 years after that.
Because maybe I'm off the track with Dvorak, because there's centerman there, and that's interesting. What I do, and I forget, I don't know how many of their defensive prospects, but here's a big problem in that case. In 3 years, Spurgeon's 35, Brody is going to be 31, Dumba might be gone. It just looks such a mess. Man, I'm telling Bill Guerin, he swung, man. I don't know how it's going to be looked back on, but I mean, you have the cojones, but that is such an unwinnable situation. I don't envy that. Like
their 2 top defensive prospects right now are going to be solid guys. It's like Carson Lambos and Ryan O'Rourke.
What about Kalen Addison? Is he
he doesn't have like he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I think he's going to be an NHL player. I think he just doesn't have the same potential that that they see of like a Carson Lambos, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. I don't know how did we get to Minnesota? Dvorak.
Jack McBain.
Yeah.
That like I think and Adam, you tell me you would know better than me, but in terms of center depth we know now isn't necessarily as strong, but for the future, I know a lot of their what type of prospects do you have going down the middle?
I'm actually thinking, I don't know. Beside Evans and Palin, let me just give me a second to refresh myself here, because I can't think of. Cam Hillis is there. The big one would probably be Jan Mishak, but like I think that you kind of cap him out as a third line center. I think they have a hope of who you could potentially get as a center. Not going to say his name, but you could probably hope that they need another center. But I just don't think it's going to be Dvorak. You know what I mean? I just don't. The thing with Dvorak has been like he's a fine two-way center, but not a contender. You're going to win with him as your third line center. Again, they probably have hopes for a centerman at this draft to try and sort of slot in there. Like they don't have to trade Dvorak, right? Like they've got the term, they can wait for it. But I don't know. There was a certain centerman maybe they could have targeted in the offseason, but that's obviously not going to happen. And that's Thomas Hertl. I didn't mean to go straight off transitioning from your question. It just hit me. If you're
great
cool
transition.
On.
No, that was it.
Very good.
They took 2 centers in the second round last year, right?
Who?
Riley Kidney and Oliver Kapanen.
Okay, yeah, Kapanen I don't think is going to be a top 6 centerman, and Kidney, I think he's had a good year. I'm not too familiar. I haven't kept up as much with their last draft, obviously because the one guy that's at the top of it is sort of like whatever. But I don't think either of those guys have second line center potential. They can be there, but are they going to be that level? I don't know. So I don't know if those are your best options. They have a lot of prospects. Like,
by the way.
Sorry?
In 2021, like I was looking through their picks, like after round 1 and 2, they didn't select again until like round 6.
Montreal?
Yeah.
Yeah, because what Bergevin always does is he moves, he'll like swap years. So that's why this year they have They're second, 3/3, 2/4, a fifth, a sixth, and 2/7. It's a thing Bergevin always used to do. It's really strange. He was a weird GM, very weird GM. But like they have a lot of defensive prospects. I think a goalie prospect of theirs just had like a bunch of awards in the NCAA. They have another guy over Europe. They've got some wingers in that. They need more centermen, which you did it if you held on to someone. But at least they have Suzuki, who's disgustingly good. But no, okay, yeah. But the Hurdle transition was so good. Anyway. Yeah, one of the big trade pieces potentially is gone. Thomas Hurdle is staying in San Jose. Apparently, it seems to be an 8-year contract by 8 years, $8 million. The first person, I think LeBron said it was happening, and I saw Freeman was the first person I saw to have the AAV. I think Chris Johnson was like 2 minutes after him, but chop one up for LeBron there. We're going to do it. We should actually do that. That's a good idea. Get a trade breaker tracker and like award it to certain insiders. Anyway,
that'd be cool.
Thomas Hurdle's a really good player. I think it's fine. He's a great two-way player. He can score a lot of goals. It's just tough when you look at the Sharks and their contracts and you're like, Logan Couture has 6 years left. Carlson has 6 years. Burns has 4 years. Vlasic has 5 years. How funny is it that Vlasic has more term than Brent Burns?
Yeah, that kind of hurt me when 5 years. He's like 34, right?
Martin Jones is sorry?
He's 34 now, right? Vlasic 2005 draft.
Vlasic?
Yeah.
34, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my, Brent Burns is 37?
He'll actually he'll be 35 at the end of the month.
That's insane.
He has one of those weird not weird birthdays, but like it's the 2003 draft. Like I think he just like a little over. Yeah.
Martin Jones's buyout is also 6 years. It's a good contract. It's just the Sharks have just so much debt in it. I think people are like, oh, another long-term deal for the Sharks, but
I think they had to do it.
I forgot they bought out Martin Jones. Oh my. Sorry.
A lot of money there. I think it was a good contract. I think it has culminated into what we were talking about before heading into the season. Where remember he had those quotes about the locker room, and of course the dynamic of locker room did change with Evander Kane gone. And I think maybe, he just kind of feels it now that this is a team that could be on a bit of an upside a bit now. Like they're not as bad as they were in 2020, but it's just not there yet, or what it was of what we were accustomed to in like the mid 2010s.
He also got $64 million.
Yeah. So
which helps. And I've heard that San Jose is a nice place to live. A lot of taxes, but that helps.
It's a nice
bit
place
more
to
chill.
Live. I think I struggle with this deal. Like I said, I think the Sharks should do it, right? Because how often do you have a player like Thomas Hurdle,
an elite two-way centerman? Yeah, not very often.
Right, but at the same time, like I think they kind of had to keep him because they have to look competitive. I don't know, like from San Jose's perspective, are they going to be a popular team in that market if they're not doing well? Like they've been doing, whether they've been average, they've been above average before 2020. They've been above average for many years.
They were a model franchise for like 25 years.
The leadership factors.
So I wonder if there's a worry of, oh no, if we lose this player, then it looks like we're losing a guy for nothing. Or you could have traded him, but still, like this is an extremely important piece of your franchise, and you've locked up everybody else.
Yeah, if half your defense wasn't as old as a steam engine, then you probably wouldn't be as much of a bad place. It's a fair contract. The AAV, I want to say, is it's less than Zibanejad, it's less than Couturier. So I think it's a fine deal in that regard. It's just the context of San Jose is so bad. You're in a bad state of your relevancy when the most like entertaining thing to come out of your franchise of the past couple of months is your AHL team tweeting out a Halo clip saying my boss is asleep. There's a triple kill I landed. That's just me. I thought that was really funny, by the way.
That was funny.
Man, energy sword and using the grapple on. I don't know if he was playing Fiesta or anything, but that man knew what he was doing. That's a seasoned Halo vet right there.
Did they say which player it was?
what?
No, it was the admin.
Oh, it was the admin.
He's like,
yeah.
He's like, yeah. So my boss is asleep. So here's a sick Halo thing, and it was legit. Like it clearly he saved the clip,
That's hilarious.
uploaded it, and just put it up.
The thing with Minnesota, or not Minnesota, sorry, with San Jose, man, I gave up the comparison I was going to make. But the thing with San Jose is I look at is now because they're signing they're signing their important pieces, but they're not, it just doesn't seem like they kind of figured it out around them, that they're going to be a middling team like Minnesota was for the last, I don't know how many years. That's what I worry about.
Is Doug Wilson back? Wasn't there a thing of he stepped away from the team because he had like a really bad COVID case? Like, is Doug Wilson back?
I'm gonna double check. Cap Friendly has him as the general manager, and I know they're pretty good with keeping up to date with that. I will double check,
because you know what I mean, right? There was that big thing, and I people have been kind of quiet about it, but I was definitely thinking of
It'd be interesting for me too. Like, I think I don't know what San Jose is kind of doing right now. I think what Alex said, they're in a way trying to stay just their head above the water right now in terms of competitiveness. And I try to think too of like, what is their system looking like right now? Because the people that come to mind for me is just Ryan Merkley and William Eklund, and solid prospects that you could develop there. But I'm just kind of wondering now where it's like, could there have been a bit more there for me? Like, I think the Kings did it really well, where they just kind of stuck to their guns with the big contracts, but anybody who was expiring, you got what you could for them.
They're a couple years behind the Sharks in that regard. Like, you think about it is, Eklund could be what like Turcotte is to them, and whoever they get this year. It's weird because at least on the back end, they've had these quiet pieces that you never hear about, but they're apparently really good. Like, you think if Mario Ferraro was going to get dealt before he got hurt, we know what's happening. Jacob Middleton, we'll talk about him later. But it's just like, but they keep trading them because, trying to get access.
Radim
Simek is another weird one.
Radim Simek was a weird one because I remember he signed that contract, and we were talking about it on the podcast. And a year before, and I remember just before COVID started, it was around November 2019. So I was talking to someone who's a Sharks fan, and he was telling me to look out for Radim Simek, not as like this great prospect, but more so as like he's a decent player. And
you've got guys. Wow.
He's symbolic of what the Sharks are trying to do. Stability.
Do you have a guy that like who's the next Vlasic? You know what I mean? Like, it's exactly, that's the big problem with San Jose. Just because it's nearly 7. So we'll just quickly, Alex, did you like just forward the email to Mike and you're just going to join whenever? Or?
I'll send it when we're done.
Okay. We can finish off. We're not going to finish off because we still have trades and the Leafs to talk to. Maybe we don't tell Mike, but he has to talk about it. If not, we'll just insert it at the end. Vegas
Go off the board with him.
Sorry?
Go off the board with him. Just like start asking him random questions about other teams.
Don't ask about the Leafs. He's going to get cranky.
Yeah, well, that's the point. Okay, if we look at Vegas, they're bad. So they just came back, Daniel. I told Alex this. So I was on the train coming back from the city. My phone was on 1%. So I was listening to Friedman and Merrick today on Jeff Merrick's show before my phone died. And I heard them talk about the stat from Vegas's road trip. And because I forgot I had a notebook in my bag and I didn't want to open my phone and it died, I wrote on my hand the stat that Vegas went 0-5 on their road trip. Only to forget as I was leaving the train, I got some, because you know how the GO trains have the moisturizer thing, to start using it, and I realized I smudged it. So it's a bit smudgy.
You mean sanitizer, not moisturizer?
Yeah, no, sanitizer. Sorry.
Like imagine complimentary lotion.
Yes, exactly. Well, I've got my moisturizer here, actually. This is my fancy one that I stole from my mom. Anyway, but no, it's Vegas have been, I think statistically, I know points percentage wise they're out. I haven't looked at the standings today, so I don't know if they're out of the playoffs, but they are on a downwards turn. A lot of players are hurt. and some guys are not playing well. And I don't think we can blame Jack Eichel for obvious reasons. The guy hasn't played. But it is looking rough. It is looking rough in Vegas right now for the first time ever. Funny,
yeah. If they don't make the playoffs, this is going to be like historic in their franchise history. Literally,
that's true.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad the guys in Buffalo are the reporters in Buffalo are just eating this up.
Oh,
I'm so happy for them. They have something nice to talk about.
I mean,
okay, like I guess this was bound to happen where we've talked about it before where there were a lot of the injury scares. We were looking at, okay, what is their depth going to look like when they were so top heavy, and then you take away one guy like a Mark Stone, or even you take away a Robin Lehner who's been injured, and just, look at how this team is. Like, I'm not saying Laurent Brossoit is bad. I'm just saying that the number of games he's been playing is just not suited for his skill set.
Lehner's been hurt. That's why.
Yeah. It's crazy what happens when 2 top 6 wingers, 2 top 4 defensemen, and your starting goalie go down.
And you trade the Vezina caliber backup.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think there's some revisionist history on that. I don't like that.
He was the better goalie.
No, I understand that, but for the last how many years we've been talking about Robin Lehner, and so you handed him the keys. He now can't handle. Not that he can't handle it. He got injured, and now it's like, oh no. Well, I mean, you should have kept the goalies for $13 million. Like there was, or $12 million. There was clearly cap implications there, and they went with the younger guy and the guy they already had tied for term. Like, I get why they traded him, and I get why people are pissed, but don't turn this around on if they had Marc-Andre Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury could be the guy who's injured right now.
I'm picking on them. They traded him for nothing.
I fully get that.
And the Blackhawks might get a ransom for him. I'm gonna make,
or they might get nothing. 100%.
If they get above a 5th round pick, then they already got more.
That's true. I mean,
no, it's a low bar.
Yeah,
I mean, it's but anyway, I know what you mean. I'm being picky about it, but still, it's listen. I'm gonna rip on Vegas. They deserve it.
I think it's just
100%.
It's like the mid-season makeover, right? I think we didn't talk about the Alex Tuck factor, where he was a solid top 9 guy for them, and he knew the system very well, right? He only played a handful of games for the Wild before he went to Vegas, and I think that's just like from what I've heard, and maybe there's just the bias from Buffalo reporters of a kind of locker room guy he is, the consistency he brings in as a power forward type of guy, and just the chemistry that was there. And I think with this midseason makeover, I know, injuries aside, but I really felt like the Jack Eichel thing, it was going to take a lot of time. So for this, I wasn't surprised that we're talking about Vegas being in the situation.
I'm going to turn it on you here, Daniel. I'm going to say this as I put Do Not Disturb back on, because for some reason, when you turn it off on your phone, it turns it off on the Mac if you haven't connected, because that's dumb. Because I was listening to Jesse Granger on The Athletic, covers the Golden Knights, and he was talking about a big guy who's a big presence is their captain, Mark Stone, who's been out. With respect to Buffalo reporters, Alex Tuck. Mark Stone. Alex Tuck.
I mentioned in my original spiel, I said Mark Stone. Like, that's a huge factor that you cannot undercut.
Stone. And not to mention, the misfit line has sort of had to, come up. Then Riley Smith got hurt. They've just been bombarded with injuries. That, and I don't know if Pete DeBoer is a good coach. I said it. Got out coached by an interim. Suck it.
We keep the thing with Vegas that is so interesting is when we talk about them, like as hockey Twitter, when we talk about them in the same way that we talked about them in the first year, where, it's like this new expansion team. And because they're still so new, right? They're only 5 years old, 6 years old. I can't really do math.
Right. 2017, I think.
They're not the same team. They might have some of the same players. Bill Foley, George McPhee, and now it's going to kill me, and Kelly McCrimmon are absolutely ruthless human beings.
Yep.
This is not the fun, we took on the guys that nobody wanted. This is the team who year after year went out and got the best available player.
You guys want me to read you their roster right now? Just for a bit of a laugh.
Okay. Sure.
So this is what Cap Friendly has their roster is right now. Brossoit, the backup goalie is Logan Thompson. The defense, Pietrangelo, good player. Theodore, good player. Nick Hague, good player. Dylan Coughlin, I've heard of him. Zach Whitecloud, we know him. Braden Paschal. Danil I'll get it. Danil Miromanov with MI at the first part of it. The forwards, Eichel, Pacioretty, Carlson, Marchessault, even though Pacioretty I'm pretty sure is still hurt. Marchessault, Dodonov, Stevenson, Carrier, Patrick. Okay, we know some of those guys, right? Nick Waugh, Matty, I remember him. Keegan Colasar, Jake Lecisions. I only know of him because Lecisions with Dom was making a big point about that guy's name. Jonas Rangeberg. That's not a real person. And Paul Cotter.
I'd like to shout out, by the way, in that roster. Are you finished with the
Yes,
roster?
that's everything. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to shout out Logan Thompson, the backup goalie right now. He was a U Sports All-Star before he made his way through the CHL, AHL, and then the NHL.
His fun fact, he has an .890 save percentage.
I think I saw Ben Steiner tweet about that.
Of course,
about the U Sports.
Yeah, and he's been bad.
He's not been
Vegas.
great.
They need to, and people are starting to make it sound like there's going to be serious repercussions if they miss the playoffs. Remember when we thought it was serious when they fired Gerard Gallant because Fleury was bad for a week? Could you imagine what they're going to do if they miss the playoffs?
Yeah, they'll probably fire Pete DeBoer.
I would put a bet on it that DeBoer's gone.
Oh yeah, if they miss the playoffs, first guy to go. Because if you look at that roster, if you look at that roster when healthy, that's a cup winning roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on Dom Lushizin's, did you see the previous model he put up? I think today about the last few cup teams or the teams that, in terms of what they have right now, match up to what a typical cup winning team is. And I think number one is Florida.
Yeah. He also had another thing with him and Shayna Goldman. Is it Goldman or I think it's Goldman? Had a really good piece of like these teams are this tier. These teams just need a pinch of salt, and they're added too. They're really good. That's really, really good reads. You're being realistic. You see the cases that's happening. You see that Jack Eichel is going to need some time to really recoup and get back in game shape. I could say we know his neck has been treated on. He's been cleared, but it's going to be interesting to actually see what Vegas do because it's bad when you've opened the door for the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh God, I love the Edmonton Oilers.
Yep. All right. Maybe we pause now. We wait for Mike.
Before we go, yes or no, are the Oilers getting their goalie?
He can wait
in the trade deadline.
No, because they think Koskinen's good enough, which is going to blow up in a week or two. I bet.
Alex,
of course it's going to blow up in a week or two because they go up and down. Like they had a really good stretch. Oh, the light turned off. Whatever. They have a really good stretch, and then as soon as one of McDavid or Draisaitl begin to tail off a little bit, which they're allowed to do, by the way. Yeah. They're allowed to do. Things go completely crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. My prediction is they'll get a goalie, but it's going to be not of the top tier guys. It's just going to be a goalie, though.
You know who's playing tomorrow, apparently?
Charlie Lindgren?
Jake Allen.
Okay.
So, man, Sam Montembeau's available.
They have to retain though, right? The Habs like 50%.
From Montembeau?
No, for Jake Allen.
No, you'll get Jake Allen unless they're not going to give up the price that the Habs would ask for Jake Allen. So Montembeau would be a much cheaper option. And yeah, you're not going to get Allen when he plays like one or two games before the deadline.
No one's paying any price apparently. I don't like the reports are ridiculous. The reports are ridiculous. I know we'll get to the Vatrano trade. I read something interesting.
Yeah, so did I. And if the Habs get a third for Chiarot, I'm going to be mad. Who's asking a second for Vatrano, by the way? Get out, Florida, you idiots.
That's almost as ridiculous as asking for a first for Ben Chiarot.
No, it's not. It's history. Look at the market. Look at Savard. Makes sense.
Never. I'm not going to get into this
and
argument.
We'll be
David
back with Mike when I will
David
ask him
Savard
about
and Ben Chiarot
Chiarot
are not the same player.
Yes, they literally are. I've watched them both. They're both awful.
No.
Look who the cat dragged in. It's Mike. He's back. How are you?
I'm amazing. I haven't talked to you guys in like a year. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, I know. It's not like we were playing Shell last night. Well, great night at Shell. Winning the division.
Great night.
Some fun games.
Don to Dubs, Division 7.
How you doing, Mike? I'm good. Are you also at undisclosed location like Alex is?
Yes, I am at the undisclosed Let me make sure no one sees. I'm an undisclosed location working hard today, as you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Working hard or hardly working?
There's no difference.
So this is the third of our trade deadline previews with the pals, with the lads, as we call it. It's going to be the final one, unfortunately. The fourth one didn't work out with Montreal.
The best for last.
Yeah, of course, we had to. And to talk about the New York Rangers, and we actually have a trade to talk to with this guy. I already introduced you. I don't know why I'm doing it again. He has the Rangers hat on. All right, Mike, first and foremost, it's a bit of a nothing deal. It's a 4th-round pick for Frank Vatrano. Apparently, the condition on it is the rate. I guess New York have Winnipeg's 4th as well, and the higher pick ends up going to Florida in the deal.
I'm sure it's the later pick.
Is it the later one?
It's the later one.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, Florida Panthers are weird. Well, Florida are clearing room, but what do you think of Frank Vatrano?
You know, I like it. I really like it. And you guys have seen me react to some of Chris Drury's moves over the past year and a bit. Most certainly you guys have seen me rip my hair out. But this was a move that I was surprisingly very happy with. And, you know, the Rangers are getting, you know, it's no secret that the biggest problem that the Rangers have had to deal with this year is depth. Their depth has been, well, pathetic. So for them to be able to go out and acquire somebody who would fit, I think would fit really well on those bottom two lines. He's not big. He's 5'11", but he throws his weight around. He plays pretty nasty, but he can score. Like, one thing people forget is that Frank Vatrano's had to deal with a bunch of injuries over the last few years, and he's never really been given much of a shot to thrive a lot. Like, he had one great year with Boston where he's proven that he is a 20-goal scorer. He's almost a 25-goal scorer. And for him to, you know, he was part of this is 2 trades now. That the first time that he was traded out of Boston to Florida is because they needed space for Rick Nash. They needed space apparently for Brian Giunta. There's too much depth that they were going to lose him on the waiver wire. And then the second time around, now here you see that Florida is all in. They're looking at Claude Giroux. At the very least, they're looking at some big fish players that they can get. So, you know, the biggest thing is that somebody needs to play alongside Artemi Panarin and Ryan Strome for the next few weeks until Kaapo Kakko comes back. Because even though Kaapo Kakko hasn't been amazing this year, he somehow still stabilizes that second line. And Dryden Hunt has not been the solution to that. In fact, it's actually, you know, the guy works his bag off, but it hurts to watch him sometimes. So, you know, I think it's good to have him as a temporary solution potentially to throw him on that second pairing line. And then once Kaapo Kakko comes back, I say shift him down to the third line. And there you go. You can eliminate either one of Dryden Hunt or Greg McKegg from the lineup. So the most important thing is I think this is the first of a couple rooms. I don't think Frank Vatrano is the only answer and the only acquisition they're going to make in terms of addressing their depth. I think there will be more moves to come, but I like this move a lot.
It also,
sorry.
No, I was going to say it also helps. He's Italian, right? So
he has the most New York name, eh?
He does.
Hey, Frankie
Vatrano. Exactly.
Alex, he talked about Kakko, so if you want to go.
Oh, yeah. I'd be curious because I think with 2 guys in particular, Kakko and Lafreniere, because obviously they're both first overall and second overall picks, and they haven't had, let's say, the best of times coming to the NHL in terms of living up to all that hype that they received coming in, which is typical for a first and second overall pick. Like that's nothing new.
Look at Jack Hughes.
Right. Exactly. Look at Jack Hughes. how have they been this year? Like this is, I think, their third and fourth year in the NHL respectively. So like, are they different? Are they better? Or is this going to be a longer term thing of them eventually reaching that potential that we all gave them?
Well, the crazy part is that over the last year and a bit, I think the stat is out that Alexis Lafreniere leads the Rangers in even strength goals, which was nuts to me. It was nuts. And even so, he's looked a lot more comfortable this year. You know, he's not himself putting up a bunch of points, but he's scoring some important goals and he's contributing a lot. I mean, Mika Zibanejad is the center of that line, but Lafreniere is right up there in terms of generating chances. And he's one of the biggest reasons that, you know, in August, you could have told me that if you were going to tell me in August that Chris Kreider was going to be a 40-goal scorer this year, I would have laughed in your face. But the reality is he has 39 goals. He's going to hit 40. It's just a matter of if, or it's a matter of when. And Lafreniere has been a big part of that. So I think he's poised for a breakout. I think it'll come. I think especially once he gets the taste of playoff hockey, so he learns how to play harder, what it takes to play at the next level. I think that'll light a fire under him. But Capo Caco has been a bit of a, I don't want to say a letdown, but he's had to deal with some crap, especially this year. He's had to deal with a couple injuries. But, you know, the one thing that I've noticed a lot is that his absence has been pretty major. I didn't expect it to be this bad. But, you know, despite the fact that he's not putting up on the score sheet, he's still doing the little things that matter. He's still winning some battles. He's still making some passes. Overall, he is balancing out that second line with Panarin and Strome. And obviously Panarin has the gifted ability to make players around him better. But it just shows in his absence. Like I mentioned, Dryden Hunt is in there. And it just has not really worked at all. I mean, granted, Strome has finally started to look a little better. He's started to put up some points the last little while, but without putting up points or doing much, Capo Caco still very much is an important part of that line. So his absence has been felt a lot. The thing is, the numbers aren't eye popping, but when it counts, they are important players that are, they're important. They balance out the chemistry of these lines so that they're not too overcrowded. And, you can't ask for more of them. Hopefully they start to put on some points and break out, but, they're doing a good job.
By the way, to put in perspective how young they are, Caco is only 21 and it's his third year.
Yeah.
It's Lafreniere's second year and he's 20. So young men. Go ahead, Dan.
So Mike, it was pretty interesting when I saw the Frank Vatrano trade is leading up to the deadline. We're going to talk about specific names after, especially Adam.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yes. But for me,
I hope you love it, Mike.
Okay.
I guess like in the lead up to it, or just more broadly speaking, where do you see the Rangers this year in terms of a potential playoff run and what they should be doing at the deadline to kind of maximize that potential for the year?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things. Let me just so I can see you. Yeah, so one important thing that I think we got to look at this year is that the Rangers are not supposed to be here. They're not supposed to be this good. They're not supposed to be doing as well as they're doing, but they are. So the thing with me is that, I wouldn't really want to go all in if I was the Rangers right now. I mean, by the grace of God and because of a man named Igor Shesterkin, they're in a playoff spot and they're going to be battling for that playoffs, like the top, a higher seeding against Pittsburgh. But this by no means is a win now year. I think if they get into the playoffs, I think honestly they'll lose in the first round, even if they play Pittsburgh as a higher seed, because Pittsburgh just has that much more veteran experience. They have like multiple cup winners on that team, like multiple time cup winners on that team. So I think it's just important that, you keep shoring up the depth, but you don't give away too many of the assets. Like, I think Ben Chiarot is a good acquisition. And I know that is something that Adam wanted to hear. Do I think the Rangers should splurge and give up a first round pick? Absolutely not. Because like maybe a second, maybe a third, but not a first round pick. And, you know, we could see what the market is like after that Manson trade.
You just blue balled me hard, by the way.
I know you did. But then there's also guys like, you know, Arturi Lehkonen. If you can
blue balled me again. Very good. Just steals my questions.
Yes. I mean, you know, those are two guys that I would want on the team, but they're not guys that I'd want to sell the cupboard for. You know, one thing that we looked at is that people are like, oh, well, I mean, people have thrown first round picks around. Tampa threw a first round pick for Blake Coleman and a prospect for Blake Coleman, and they threw a first round pick for Barclay Goodrow. Okay, well, they were in win now mode with the second best goalie currently in the world and one of the best top sixes ever, and Victor Hedman in that decor. While the Rangers have a great decor, minus the bottom pairing, and they have a pretty good top six, they're not by any means in win now mode. So I would focus on trying to get rid of Vitaly Kravtsov to get somebody in that wants to play. Maybe even a guy like Rickard Rakell. Like that's still like a stretch for me, but I would even go for a guy like him or Kalle Järnkrok. But I wouldn't want to start selling like the cupboard right now. This is not the year.
Okay. This is just my follow-up is you've mentioned Vitaly Kravtsov, but along with him, what other assets are you comfortable with giving up at the deadline to help the Rangers with shoring up that depth?
You know, I think a lot of teams want a couple of guys, a couple of prospects, a couple of guys who are starting to get some reps in, like Morgan Barron. He's a good two-way player. He's somebody that the Rangers have received some calls on. Braden Schneider has finally started to get some reps in the NHL. I just don't know where he falls into place. So that's why, you know, the big thing is that they've been experimenting so hard with that bottom pairing because they just can't figure that part out. But it'd be interesting to see what they can get for a guy like Braden Schneider without necessarily giving up on him. But I mean, you can get a pretty good defenseman, I'd say, for him. If you're looking at bigger players, say you're looking at a guy like Rickard Rakell or something like that, then yeah, you got to start thinking about guys like Nils Lundkvist. And I'm okay if Nils Lundkvist departs because while this guy's not as talented as him, Zach Jones is still a pretty good offensive defenseman, same-handedness that can kind of step up there as well if he needs to get called up. I compare Nils to like the Sandin of the Rangers. So, you know, if he gets moved, he gets moved. But I think, you know, there's somebody to step up there. Julien Gauthier, he is starting to, you know, the guy has hands that are absolute bricks, but he's big and he can shoot a bit. But the big thing is he's pretty fast for his size. So he's somebody I would be okay with moving as well for a bigger package. Yeah, there's no shortage of people to sell, really.
I just want to quickly share a tweet that came a few minutes ago.
I saw it too.
Let me just quickly get this up.
I already know what you're talking about.
From Jared Dreger, still more than one team in the mix, however. He didn't even say still more than one team. Okay, no, he did. I'm just done. However, sources say Chiarot trade negotiations are heating up.
And how does that make you feel?
To my ears. More than one team. Maybe up the price, a bit of interest, you know, a bit of a play. You know what Chiarot's done that I don't think Josh Manson. Actually, before I throw this wild statement, let me just double check Josh Manson's Hockey DB page, and just to double check something to make sure I'm not a complete hoopla. Okay, never mind. I was going to be dumb. Okay,
I want to ask you about that. What do you think happens now with Josh Manson, who is? I mean, I wouldn't call him as good as Ben Chiarot, and that's not me pumping Ben Chiarot's tires that much, seriously. But the fact that Josh Manson can go for a second and a prospect who is the 8th to 10th prospect in the Avs' pipeline.
Yes.
And on top of that, they retain 50%.
Yes.
That's just absurd to me. Yes. How do you think that affects the Ben Chiarot market?
Simply because, first off, Pat Verbeek shot himself in the foot when he just flat out said, if no one signs, they're gone. Now we know that the Habs haven't been secret in their wanting to get Ben Chiarot, but it wasn't like Verbeek, who like his second day was like, yeah, they're going to be gone if they don't want to be here. Not to mention Josh Manson doesn't have the value he used to. I saw Jay Fresh joke, if they traded him 2-3 years ago, remember when everyone was like, Nylander. Not to mention, I don't think we've seen we haven't seen in Josh Manson. We don't have the body of work in so many top pair minutes that you would Ben Chiarot. No, I'm not saying.
Daniel, are you going to let him? Are you going to let him do this to your guy? You're going to let him do this to your guy?
Hold on. Okay. Josh Manson's played minutes, but has he? This is the point I'm getting to. Has Josh Manson played top 2 minutes in a shutdown role 4 rounds deep into the playoffs?
And has he been PP1?
3 rounds.
Does he No, it's PP2 now, but he was quarterback in PP1 to start because Dom Ducharme. Has he done that? How many OT game-winning goals has Ben Chiarot?
Okay.
Does Manson have? Because Chiarot's had a few this year. 9 points in 10 games. You can do it all.
Wait, I thought we're not allowed to pick and choose when on amount of games. I thought
Alex, we both know that I like moving the goalpost for Ben Chiarot.
Well, Adam liked to do this because Mike, he mentioned the names really early on before Adam's question. So this is the new content.
This is revenge.
No, it's just because, legit, my 2 questions were Lehkonen and Chiarot, and you just blew by them. But no, like, even if they get a second in the prospect, I'm still cool with it. The thing is, it's interesting if Calgary called, because Calgary shouldn't be calling them, because, unless they're willing to pay the price, because Calgary know better than anyone because he was close to getting dealt in the Toffoli deal. So if you're Calgary, don't waste my damn time. And their pressure is on a team like Calgary because a team in their conference just suited up. This is how, if you're smart, you can put the pressure on and realize, okay, they're suiting up. You have to now. And I know there was reports, I think Frank Saravelli said that that the original asking price for Vatrano was a second. Ben Chiarot's crazy, but there was precedent. I always screw that up. There was precedent last year with the Savard deal. Respect to Frank Vatrano? No, that's a guy who was like 4th line time with the Panthers at the point. So, but anyway, it's about you here, Mike. It's about you here. All I know is I've gotten my Ben Chiarot quota in for a guest. So I've done my part. Okay. And yeah, you took Lehkonen. I can't actually ask anything.
Well, you didn't ask me what I would take Lehkonen for.
What? It doesn't matter what you want.
Wait, what did you say you would take? What did you say you would take Ben Chiarot for?
I'll take it in a second in the prospect.
No, I said a second.
I'm very well aware, Adam. I'm very well aware what you would take. You take for Ben Chiarot.
Hello, guest. We have you on to ask questions. Answer my question.
Mike, what would you pay for Ben Chiarot? I don't remember.
I would do a second.
Yeah.
And a third max.
Okay, what about Lehkonen? Because that's a legitimately valuable.
Kravtsov, a second, and you gotta toss someone in there. It's a good start. I'll start with that for now because that's how negotiations go.
Okay. And I want it first, but we'll see.
I know you want it first, but
so cheeky.
Apparently, that's the asking price. Well, I think a first for Lehkonen is a lot more reasonable than Chiarot because Lehkonen is Lehkonen, and team control. His advanced numbers have him in the Selke.
You should go to the Golden Knights.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a terrible move, but I don't want to with Pacioretty. No. I really, this Chiarot trade needs to happen. If it's to Toronto or the Rangers, and we have you guys on, I've dreamed of moments like this.
I won't come on the podcast.
I won't talk to you for like a week.
You don't have a choice.
I need a break.
There are 2 things we want to ask. One is from Daniel, but I want to start off with who was your MVP, Mike, and why is it Igor Shesterkin?
Well, it's Igor Shesterkin. And I mentioned it earlier. The Rangers should not be in the position they are right now. And the reason being because of this Russian goat named Igor Shesterkin. Just the way the guy he's done everything, man. He's kept this team in like half of the games they've won. They've had no business winning, or they've just been so close. So yeah, he's been my MVP. And obviously you got guys like Austin Matthews, Huberdeau, and Austin Matthews is on an absolute goal scoring tear. But the reason I'm giving the edge to Igor, even if I was not to be biased, despite the fact that obviously I am, is because of the fact that if you look at it, I mean, first off, goalies play every minute of the game that they play in unless they get yanked or injured. But he's also doing this in front of a team that is not helping him remotely. Like, despite the fact that like Austin Matthews gets to play, and this is not me just ripping on Austin Matthews, Alex, I'm just trying to present facts here. But
no, I have Igor Shesterkin as my MVP
I know you do.
winner.
That's why, yeah. But okay, sorry. For anyone that listens that's a Leafs fan, I'm not torching the Leafs. I'm just saying, it helps. It helps a bit when Austin Matthews has the support of Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Mo Bamba Riley,
Michael Bunting.
You're really trying to instigate it.
I'm not.
Listen. What I will say, you do rag on the Leafs, just not in the podcast.
Hey,
just
who has more career points, Michael Bunting or Capo Caco? I wonder.
Probably Bunting, because he gets to play like crazy amount, and also because he's like 29, 35 years old.
Hey, Mike, do you think Bunting deserves the Calder?
Stop doing this to me.
And after the podcast, he's gonna rip on me as if I asked those questions.
You set me up. This is gotcha journalism by Alex.
I didn't even do anything.
But
Daniel,
I mean, like,
go ahead whenever. By the way.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, that's the forward question, right? Yes.
That's my question.
Oh, was that you who asked? Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
I think Mike, we talked about it off the podcast a few times now, and it's a guy obviously probably not going to be moved, but obviously who the hell knows at this point. JT Miller. I know we've had the discussions about him. Do you think the Rangers should bring back the former Ranger?
No.
Why?
Even though I really wanted to at the beginning of the year, or at least up until a month ago, really. I was all for a JT Miller acquisition. But the way I see it is that, there's a couple of factors here. First off, JT Miller is going to command a return, like a serious return. This guy is not helping anybody out by playing so damn well for Vancouver. Not to mention that he's got an extra year on his contract, and that's a good thing if you can trade for him. But it's not, I was just talking, obviously, when I answered Daniel's question about emptying the cupboard, that was my answer. And the thing is, the most important thing to prioritize is depth. They have two centers in Strome and Zibanejad. And sure, that means if you trade for Miller, then that means you're either putting him on your second line left wing where Panarin is, or you're putting him as one of your top two, second or third line center positions, because you also have Filip Chytil, unless he's part of the deal. I mean, first off, a big part is who the heck goes in this deal. And I just feel like that's just counterintuitive to what the end goal and what they need to do is, because at the end of the day, no matter what, if you get a player like him and you have to put him at center or put him at wing, then one of your good centers is still going to be SOL, because he's still going to be playing with crappy depth on the wings. Like either or, if you manage to keep Strome or you get rid of Strome and put Chytil has been struggling all year because he has sucked and should be better, but also he just doesn't have any help. Like, I will give him the benefit of the doubt on both sides. 2 seconds.
Yep. It's funny, eh? I also like, by the way, how both Mike and Daniel have these amazing toques on. They
yes,
both look great.
I brought this specifically because of this hit.
How much longer could you be around, Mike?
I'm not doing anything for a while. So
do you want to quickly just stay on to talk about the Colorado trades and the Leafs then?
Okay.
Okay. All right. The main point here is to try and antagonize an argument between Mike and Alex. So, for the content. Before we get to the Leafs, so the Avalanche made a pair of deals. Obviously, the massive one is Nico Sturm. I am kidding. Nico Sturm gets traded in exchange for Tyson Jost, who Alex had, of course, as the previewed Colorado player getting dealt. We'll talk about this one first. Alex, what do you think of it?
I think, well, to me, obviously, this screams of a move to open up about $1 million of cap space. And so clearly they are not done.
Daniel, you know Minnesota, you probably know more about Nico Sturm than the rest of us. What are Colorado getting in him?
They get a solid bottom six guy, adds size, has good speed, and according to Michael Russo, one of the best guys you could ask for quotes when it comes to articles.
Yeah, I saw that, even though I've never heard him talk. That was interesting.
Do you want me to talk about Tyson Jost one? Oh, sorry, one.
One thing I was going to say is that I don't know about you guys, but for the longest time, Dan, you could probably know this a little more. I obviously ever since he kind of surged last year with the emergence of, obviously Kaprizov was the biggest tail of the wild, but Nico Sturm was up there with how much he is with, showing up and in the playoffs, throwing his body around, being a good young player. What happened that you don't do you have any reasons that you think he's not part of their future plans anymore? Or obviously he's not because he's not with the organization.
I think it's the expectation of, I guess it's just control, because a lot of the assumptions was that he was going to get a price that the Wild were not comfortable with. And they'd rather bank on the potential of Tyson Jost because they're using Ryan Hartman now as a first line center. So you could really plug in any guy who's a center right now and just see what you can do with that. So I think that was one part of that.
Do in a slightly used Christian Dvorak, as we discussed earlier. We'll try.
I just have one more point on this trade, and it was crazy to me because Tyson Jost is wearing number 10, and weird. I was surprised that Marian Gabourik's number has not been retired yet.
Oh yeah,
that's a very good point.
Wow,
it's nice though. So what? The only one up there in Minnesota is it only Koivu?
Yeah.
We don't talk about the other one because retiring number for the fans is dumb. Anyway, I hate that so much. Okay, the big one though, Josh Manson. It wasn't Carolina, it wasn't Toronto, it was Colorado. The Ducks traded him for a second in Drew Hellison, prospect defenseman. They actually signed, I think it was today or yesterday. They signed him.
Yeah.
Colorado. We don't know the status of Bo and Byram, so sort of strengthening up that right side with the guy. A different game, but
you like him. He's a pretty good player, right?
Sorry.
You like Bowen Byram. He's a pretty good player, right?
Yeah, I do. Just not in the video games. Don't try and play with me, Mike. But I'm just trying to get up their daily face-off to see where it's going to go. Because I'm pretty sure he's actually playing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So he's going to be behind Makar, which is already just gross. Hold on, let's get daily face-off here, which has been very finicky with me today. It's not loading.
I know
if you guys want to discuss the trade
as I get it on the right side of that third pairing now.
Sorry?
Lord.
Eric Johnson.
Ain't bad. Well, I would hope it pushes Jack Johnson out the lineup. If you guys want to just discuss it while I try and get this to work, like who won the trade?
They also don't have Sam Girard. So they'll have, I believe he'll be back for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, it's 4 weeks, I think.
So
and all you did was give me PTSD by mentioning the JJ word.
Jack Johnson? is his buyout still there?
Where?
Is he getting paid by 3 teams? No, just Pittsburgh, right?
I think just Pittsburgh, because I think he just Mike 1 year deal with the Rangers.
What?
He had a 1 year deal with the Rangers.
Yes, and it was an eyesore, especially because it didn't hurt that he was just so bad, but it also hurt that he took a good number to be so bad.
What number did he take?
He was wearing 27.
That's not good. So if the Avs, it would be like Makar, Taves, Manson, Murray, Eric Johnson, and probably Sam Girard in there, and Jack Johnson's the 7th D. That is pretty good, and they're not done too. I think that's decent
until they get Claude Giroux.
It's gonna be them or Florida by the sounds of it. In Florida, I mean, so
it's his preferred destination.
Yeah,
if Colorado don't get Giroux, they're gonna get Fleury.
No, you know what? I think it's gonna be Andrew Kopp.
Because the Leafs are gonna get Fleury.
No, they're not. He doesn't want to come to Toronto. They don't have a good enough chance to win. I don't blame him. Like, I don't blame him. But if I'm him and there's a deal on the table to go to Colorado, like I say, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to Colorado. I don't care about the weather. Like, you're gonna win. That's why that's like the best constructed team in the league.
Just have to stay off the weed, as Stephen A would say. You call my show, you stuttering in your speech because you high. And because you high, goodbye. Look up that clip. It's freaking hilarious.
When is KD going to learn? KD, when you going to learn? Kyrie betrayed you.
The way you know what Stephen A. Smith is really good at doing? Purposely interrupting himself. When he's like, you got KD.
And wait, let me tell you right now.
That is blasphemy. The man is great. And the way how sometimes he'll just randomly storm in to get up is amazing.
I think you guys should just do an episode one day where the three of you just watch and just the two of you ask Adam questions and Adam responds in the most Stephen A way possible.
I have tried to once do that, and it was a Ben Chiarot talk, and Alex, I think Alex wanted to punch me in the face because I was so thingy with Chiarot.
I didn't say that. I actually felt bad. I didn't say that. I did not say that.
No, you didn't say that, but I felt it. I'm like, Alex is definitely upset with me.
Well, because I'm not going to yell on the podcast. That's the one up I had to do.
The first time we yelled at each other on the podcast.
Yeah, but like I have it. Yeah, no, it would not be. It would not be.
We've gotten there. Well, you joked about the Leafs and Fleury. They don't need him because Shalgren's apparently the answer.
Playing tonight.
Yeah, that was man,
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Sorry,
I'm like they're playing tonight.
That Mrazek is just a non-option. By the way,
must I say I'd like he's wearing number 50 to honor Leafs legend Jonas Gustafsson.
That's an awful number, and he should be ashamed of himself.
I love that. This is it. He's already
Daniel,
taking the reins.
Daniel, I actually met Jonas Gustafsson once. Fun story.
Nice guy.
It's for another time. Yeah, fun, nice guy.
Okay.
It's crazy to me that he's already taken the reins and he gets his first real test against Carolina on Saturday night.
I mean, well, like, okay, think about it like this: would you rather throw in Eric Shalgren, or would you rather throw in Peter Mrazek, who has no confidence?
And
do you have confidence in Peter Mrazek?
No, I don't. That's why I'm more than content with putting Eric Shalgren in.
What did we think of the outdoor game, by the way, Mrazek's performance there?
Oh my God. That's it. Like, I don't.
There's only so many ways of saying that he's bad. So
I want to just have a soundbite.
The thing is,
Alex going, "Oh my God."
It's another one of the sayings. Like, if I could swear, I would, is how I'll put it. Like, it was not good. Like, it was not a good game. I would be royally pissed if I was Sheldon Keefe and I saw that.
What upset you more than Mrazek's play or Sheldon Keefe not taking much from that loss, as he seems to say to every loss?
Or Austin Matthews trying to decapitate.
We'll get to Matthews in a second.
I'm more upset about Mrazek.
Okay.
I don't think. Sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
Oh no, I was just upset about the special outfits that Cal Dubas and Brendan Shanahan wore, and they were just look so sad in them. Like
Peaky Blinders.
Blinders.
Dubas looked great.
Time.
He had such a nice outfit.
It's just they were really sad.
I mean,
I wonder why. Sorry, Daniel. Sorry. But again, like you brought up Sheldon Keefe there. I take what he and Dubas say to the public with an extreme grain of salt. I don't think Keefe took nothing from that loss.
What's the word again?
I don't.
Is it lessons? I think Keefe's word is lessons. I think that's the word.
Because
the front office gave Keefe a lesson, to be honest. After that soft and purposeless comment.
Oh yeah,
he gave him a lesson on what here's the thing. What's the issue with John Tortorella? His message gets old, right? Every time he throws a tantrum in the public, it's great once in a while, but when you do it every time you lose a game, it loses its effect. So every time they crap the bed, Sheldon Keefe can't come out there and call them soft and purposeless. That loses its effect. Like that's just right. Am I wrong? do not think
saying
if
after every game, but if you've lost to the Arizona, Montreal, and then the outdoor game that was,
That's 2 games to Buffalo.
yeah,
correct.
Within like a few weeks or a month, yeah.
But
I'm just saying it's.
But
like,
it's not the entire team. But we all know it's not the entire team. Keith can't go out there after Petr Mrazek blows it like an absolute and say that team was soft and purposeless, because that would be a lie.
It would be funny though.
Is this what I said in All or Nothing? You have to allocate the F-bombs because they were getting kind of old, like by episode 3.
Austin Matthews tried to take someone's head off. That was not soft and purposeless.
I guess we can talk about it. He gets 2 games for the cross-check to Rasmus Dahlin.
Good.
The outpouring to this was hilarious. I just want to say, I think it was fair.
Yeah, no, it's 100% fair.
I don't think people should get mad about the fact that, oh, well, this guy did this, and they did nothing. Well,
no, that's not true.
So inconsistent.
I think, yes, that's the issue.
Some guy does, just because I know that it's inconsistent,
but Mike, there's precedent. There's precedent, right? So there's precedent for this. Not the issue is, I agree, it's a suspension. The issue is there's precedent, and we're told that the NHL Department of Player Safety uses precedent, even though if you showed me, I don't believe that to be true.
At the same time, though, I'm not saying that the criticism isn't warranted. Of course, it's warranted. I'm just saying it shouldn't come to much of a surprise.
Right, because this was the biggest thing out of that game. The Heritage Classic, the biggest thing was Austin Matthews cross-checking someone in the face. So of course they slapped him with a 2-game fine.
Then another
Jason Spezza got 6 games because that was the biggest story of the night. I guarantee you. I promise you, if it was anybody else and outside of that game, that would have been 6 games. That's my issue.
True.
The only time they actually do the right things, and the only times, funny enough, that the 3 of us compliment him on the show is when it's the biggest story of the night. That's an issue.
Especially, I think you're mainly referring to the Jason Spezza incident there, and how much that
6 games.
What was rich to me is how quickly Leafs fans. They came with the receipts. If you look at the replies to the suspension, the amount, I've never seen more videos in a thread. It was impressive. They dug some up from the playoffs against Montreal, and I'm like, whoa, okay, wow, this is like there were some unfair ones, but like it's fair when you look like the Marcus Foligno fine was like, what? He did the same thing a few months ago. Like, what's this about? It's there's definitely inconsistencies there, but you gotta go after him there. Like, you have to give him that suspension. It's just
100%.
It was deserved. Like, the dude, he clearly, people were making the point that he was maybe a part of it was the week leading up. We knew Matthews wasn't happy with the chicker and stuff, and people were saying the same thing when Marchand got suspended, and they were kind of pointing at the Russian comment towards Panarin. And maybe this was the thing of, and it's funny, since that suspension, Brad Marchand has been very quiet on social media. I don't think it's a coincidence there. So maybe it was a slap on to Matt. He's like, okay, listen here, buddy, calm down.
Wait, what were they saying about Brad Marchand? Sorry, I did not see that.
Or what was the comparison he eventually got was because he was before he had been suspended, there was this thing to do with they were gonna ding on the comments he made. Oh, because you're being sarcastic.
No, I'm not. No, just just say it, because I actually haven't heard this. I'm smiling because it's hilarious.
Because remember, he made the remark to Panarin about no one in Russia likes you.
Yeah.
So then they led up to maybe like, we can't suspend you for saying that, but think about that for a second, Brad, and they added it on.
I find it funny.
Theory.
Yeah, I find it funny because that's actually believable.
Yes.
That's why I'm laughing. No, it's not sarcastic.
Something I wanted to mention that really pissed me off. I saw, and Richard Coffey liked one of these tweets, and I like Richard, and he's been on the show. I was so upset about this. George Peros wouldn't give this suspension to Ben Chiarot because he was a hap. So he's not going to go after a Leaf. I just want to quickly mention something. Do you guys know where he played for most of his career, George Peros? Hey, Daniel, you can't answer this. Well, I just gave it away because, the Ducks. He played in Montreal for 22 games. Now, you may say his career ended with a fight in Montreal against the Leafs. Who remembers when Andrew Shaw called him out a few months ago for a hit that Shaw received when he was a Hab? So let's not be selective with our history there. It has nothing to do. Remember when Myers concussed Jarl Armia last year? Nothing there. Don't you dare bring up the Habs bias. Shut up. Anyway, that was something that was really.
I don't think it was
me.
a Habs bias.
Of course it wasn't.
No, I don't think it was.
It.
I think it was it was okay, maybe, but
wait,
I think it's a
this?
Leafs bias.
There were those Leafs fans that were saying they.
Yeah, the five of them.
Yeah.
And then the media and then half of the hockey Twitter says, "Oh no, it's all defense." No, shut up.
I thought you were calling out coffee.
No,
he likes the tweet, so he clearly agreed. It was dumb.
Oh.
It's just it has nothing to do. Montreal gets screwed all the time. What are you talking about?
We love Richard, by the way.
He's a really nice guy. Happy for the success he's getting. But it's like, dude, no, it's not a Habs thing. That's not true.
Someone should save this audio clip and send it to him.
Gary Bettman hates Canada with a passion.
He does.
I'll never understand it to this day. This country makes him the most amount of money.
Gary is racist to Canadians.
It's ridiculous. The two of the three top teams in his league are Canadian. Like, oh, get out of here.
It's pretty whack. It's pretty whack. And
then the first one, Mike, you would know. He doesn't like the owner. Get out of here, Gary. Grow up.
You guys want some kind of news that's coming out of the Hockey Central pre-show quickly?
Yeah, sorry.
Always.
Sure.
Friedman says that the Panthers are obviously into Giroux and they're probably the front runner. They're planning to move space. We saw that with Vatrano. They've had Nola Chari out there for a while, and he thinks maybe Calgary could look at that. Merrick said possible destinations for Domi. A lot of teams are said to be interested in him. They're looking for skill and snarl, so that's him. Washington,
you also have Jordan,
Boston.
who's sitting.
We're gonna get to that. Don't worry.
Okay.
Washington, Boston, Colorado are the guys interested in Domi. And this is Friedman a minute ago. Friedman on Giordano and Ben Chiarot. It's heating up on him. It's heating up on Ben Chiarot. The teams around these players, the both of them, Toronto, Calgary, Florida, St. Louis, New York. I don't think Toronto is as big into Chiarot, but they're bigger into Giordano. Also, some of those teams are waiting on Hampus Lindholm too. So, that's what's going on. We're waiting.
Would you want Mark Giordano, Alex?
Yeah, I would, but he's not my first option.
So who are you getting rid of for Mark Giordano? Other than Travis Dermott, because obviously that's an obvious.
Well, what's the asking price?
I think they said at least they start with a first.
A first?
By the way, he's at 6.75 million dollars. By the way,
so you got to retain on that, man.
You got to find a broker.
Seattle have the room. They're freaking taking it. If you divide it by 2, it would be a $3.3 million savings.
It's still pretty big.
That's still a lot. I really don't know how on earth to fit that.
The Leafs still don't have pocket space.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, great.
Justin Hall sent back in that trade.
I imagine.
Yeah, well, then here's the problem. Okay, so let's say the top 4 is but instead of Hall at Giordano, it's what Lyubushkin and Sandin, which isn't awful, but is that
I'd absolutely that would be their best third pair.
Lyubushkin looked good yesterday. He killed Jason Robertson on one play.
So is that it? I guess that's a first, and what else makes salary where I don't think that's the move that you're going to get rid of Kerfoot.
No, I'm still in. I still think they should go after Chikrin. Like Chikrin's my first option. To be honest, I've said it before, and then I think Lindholm is my second.
You gave us a Chikrin package, but you never gave us a Lindholm package.
What's the price? I gave you a Lindholm Chikrin package. I have the price.
Like if Manson's a second and a whatever prospect, I would assume Lindholm would be probably a first and a B prospect.
Sure. First and now I got to pull up their
Abruzzese.
Yeah, sure.
First
and Nick Abruzzese. Sure. I think that changes. I think that changes their top 4 drastically. And Hall or Dermott, one of them have to be included. Like just to move
To make
a
it
D out, to make money and to move a D out. And I think that's fine. Like even without Muzzin, it's not the best, but I still think it would be good enough. Like you're playing Lindholm or Chikrin, whichever one you get, you can play him with Muzzin or with Riley if they can play on their right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I think there's plenty of options to work there.
Mm-hmm. Chalgren had the good start. Apparently, I was reading that his rebound control was a little messy, but there's obviously going to be an element there if the team are going to be playing harder in front of him. It is going to be a real test against Carolina.
Yeah, it will be a much different test than against Dallas. But again, like at this point, when your options are Peter Mrazek and nobody else, I'd rather play
Joe Wall.
Nobody else.
Okay, finish off here. The Leafs, Pierre LeBrun mentioned this. Apparently, they're interested in Jacob Middleton. Boston and Tampa are there too, but is that a
I've
name?
literally
You're like,
never heard of that guy ever.
He's been playing with a lot of the top D in San Jose.
Yeah, I saw that. I just mean like
he's been playing
so
with.
you've heard of him before.
He's been playing
Yeah,
with
of course.
Carlson. From my read, he's been playing. Yeah, he knows everything. He's been playing
Yeah,
with Carlson and Burns. He's actually one. I know this is an absolute meaningless stat, but I found it so interesting. He was one of like 3 or 4 guys who aren't negative in plus minus.
Do you know who had the best plus minus in Detroit last year at the deadline? John Merrill.
Don't you love him?
Habs legend.
He was nothing
I'm
for
just-
the Habs.
I'm just saying. I just want to bring that up.
No,
But again, like,
I
I don't
very
think-
important stat. So
I was watching, I won't say who said it because I don't want to embarrass them, but I was listening to someone and they were talking about this team pick up Chikrin and I nearly laughed. He said, I don't like that plus minus. And I'm like,
sounds like an Adam Wild quote.
Was it?
it was not
Was
Adam
it Craig
Wyatt.
Button? Craig Button.
It was not Craig Button. You guys definitely don't know who it is. I'll tell you that. You guys will not guess who he is. I just want to quickly.
Arpon Basu.
It was not Arpon Basu. No.
It's a Montreal guy. That's a good start, Mike.
It wasn't a Montreal guy. By the way, Nick Suzuki's a
Steve
minus
Simmons.
16. Like, that doesn't mean anything.
It was Steve Simmons.
No, it wasn't Steve Simmons. Okay, anyway.
Mike, can you please exit the podcast now? I think it's over.
Okay, everyone check Twitter quickly. Check Twitter and see if there's anything coming. Refresh Twitter. Ben
Hearing
Chiarot,
things
come
heating
on.
up on Cali Yarncroc front. Watch for the Flames. Definitely an aggressive pursuer.
Patrick Talon tweeting, not Chiarot, don't care. Thanks for not getting back to me, Patrick, by the way.
You shout out Peter Holland.
Yeah, he retired, eh? Okay, I'm going to do my favorite little game. I'm going to go through my phone, look at screenshots, see if we've talked about it. And if not, just have a little tussle about it.
You have me for
Okay.
5 minutes.
Okay, Austin Matthews, we talked about that. This is Daniel asking for the passwords to the podcast. Josh Manson trade. Josh Manson trade.
Hey, Mike,
Chikrin's apparently going to be good. Josh Manson.
As what?
I was going to ask you how screwed Vegas are while he was scrolling through
Yeah, you keep doing that.
to kill some time.
How's what?
How screwed are Vegas?
So screwed, man. It's bad. Like,
Okay.
it
What's the
had to
first thing to happen? Well, if they don't make the playoffs, let's assume they don't make the playoffs. What's the first thing to happen?
I don't think they really move anybody. I mean,
Okay.
other than like Riley Smith is gone. Like the biggest thing, the biggest reason it wouldn't work this year is because of the fact that I'm not answering that. Is because of the fact that
Working hard or hardly working?
the biggest reason is that they got hit with an injury bug.
Right.
And no one expected Mark Stone to be out until however long he's going to be. No one expected Max Pacioretty to be out however long he's been out this year. You reconciled that, so you can't keep saying that, Adam.
I'll do
You've
it for the
reconciled that to me.
It's my podcast.
Yeah, but you got in tears when we were talking about it and how much you missed and loved Max Pacioretty.
Okay. half of that is true. I did not cry. Last thing, the Canadians are apparently interested in Pavel Zacha. That was weird to me. But I think that mentioned on 32 Thoughts.
I don't understand how that guy is still in New Jersey.
Apparently, yeah, I know, right?
They gave up on him so long ago. I have no idea how he's still in New Jersey.
Final thing I'm going to ask you, Mike. How excited are you for the Darkrai event in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl?
I'm extremely excited.
Okay, good. Okay. And that's everything. Thank you, Mike, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully Ben Chiarot's a New York Ranger, and I can laugh at you.
No.
Can we? If he does become a New York Ranger, you do have to come back on just for like 5 minutes. An
emergency podcast tonight if it happens.
Just so I could be quiet and just sit there, and you could just look at my sad face.
I was so hoping he was going to get traded live.
I really think that if he does get traded to New York, or if it's like to a team that we've had someone on for, I think it should just be Adam and that person. That's who's talking about the trade.
This is me laughing.
Adam, Daniel, and I really don't.
Just Adam, just sitting there, like,
that grin I get.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm just gonna get.
Was it the Instagram photo one when the Leafs lost to Montreal? Is that?
Oh good? Yeah. When the boys give you a heartbreaking name of that. But anyway, if you want to see my face and the others, you can check out the YouTube version of the show because the episode is done. Check out all those social media sites, including Mike's. It'll be linked below. Alex's stuff, Nighthawks, Daniel, CGRU, me, the YouTube channel. And we will see. Check out TikTok and all that. The show's on it. Great stuff. Check us out on Spotify video too because it's on there. We didn't even know. Listen to wherever your podcasts are. Leave ratings on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. They haven't touched that app in like 2 months. God bless, because they keep making it worse and worse. Can't imagine what it's going to be like next time. Anyway, thank you for downloading 20 episodes of the Jeff Merrick Show on my phone without telling me. I'd love to see it. My computer probably has 200. That's everything for us, and we will see you next time. Mike's going to be back in a second. It's going to be Ben Chiarot. This is breaking. We don't know when we're going to put this in the episode. The Panthers have acquired Ben Chiarot. We don't know the return yet, but it's happening. It's happened. Life is good. I'm so excited. Where is the return? Gentlemen, how do we feel?
Well, this is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Daniel, why don't you start? Because it sounds like you. Also, they don't have their first or second round picks. Thank you, Julian McKenzie, for the reminder. So we will.
It's interesting for me because I think we talked to Alex and Bob Gardner on Sunday about the prospect pool that the Panthers have, that they have a bunch of these potential quality guys that are just not going to fit the team. Like there's not any space for him. I'm not saying it might be an Owen Tippett. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
you got to save that for Giroux, right?
Certainly, yes. Something of significance there.
If it's Owen Tippett, then it makes like Joe Sakic ran away with Josh Manson like a fool. Like not like a fool. Sorry. Like you know what the saying I'm trying to say. Like he looks like a genius if Florida gives up Owen Tippett for Ben Chiarot and Pat Verbeek walked away with essentially 2 second-round picks because I think Drew Hellison was their second-round pick last year.
Just quickly through a Ben Chiarot's war chart. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. His wins above replacement is 0%. Where is this return? I need to know. Where is it?
My guess right now, and Alex Bob Gardner said this perfectly. I'm not gonna say this name very well. He was 24th overall in 2021. So Maki Samoskevich is a possibility. Anton Lundell is not being touched. And another interesting name too I'm looking at is the 3rd round pick. It's Justin Swardiff, and he played for the World Juniors in Canada, and he's having a great year with the Vancouver Giants. So that's maybe a name that I probably said that wrong, but it's a name that I think you could look at as a potential guy going to the Habs.
I have a sneaking suspicion the Habs are going to be the first one to have this out, like before the insiders. Oh my God.
What's I say with the Panthers? Like a lot of their picks have actually played. Like they're top round players. They've actually played.
So Baumgartner's busy, but he just said course intentions in the project. Sadly, my phone blew up. Saw one from you, and one was a Nucks fan. I knew what happened.
Yeah.
Where is this return? I must know.
Mike, nothing obscene. We're recording.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, we already had to restart once.
Did you like how I said that? How I did that? Because I'm
Your
so
entrance?
upset. Did you hear what I played there?
No.
Did you not hear what I played?
No, don't play it.
That's
Don't do
us
it. We're gonna
copyrighted,
get us
please.
taken down on YouTube.
Where
It was
is
just
the
Darth
ret-
Vader getting mad. It wasn't like
Oh,
anything.
okay.
It wasn't music.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you just do the impersonation for us so we didn't
Hope
hear
not
it?
Yeah.
to choke on your aspirations.
It was this.
Oh, you ever
It sounded
hear,
like Chewbacca there.
Like the
It did.
French version of that, of the no? It sounds so intense. Oh my goodness gracious.
I should just play an entire song.
Please don't. I'll have so much work. We'll have
You
so
can
much
sing the
work.
song though, Alex, right?
I honestly don't know what the copyright law is, but I
can
I
do
know for a
karaoke.
fact I know for a fact you cannot actually play the music. YouTube will take that down.
I'm so upset that we don't have this return. I'm walking. I'm pacing.
All right. Before we wait, I guess I have a few random tidbits here.
Yeah.
Drew Hellison was a teammate of Trevor Zegras for the 2021
Oh, that's
World
interesting.
Junior, so there's a good connection there.
Oh, by the way, Yardcroak's a flame for the listeners. We're not going to talk
For a
about it
pick.
because who cares? But yeah.
Okay. Second thing, Kirill Kaprizov with 31 goals tonight. He passes.
He scored
Marian Gaborik.
31 goals in one night.
Wow, that's insane.
Yes.
That must be a crazy.
He passes Marian Gaborik for most goals of a Wild,
Wait, what?
like of a Wild pick, like
In a season?
in a season. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Oh, guys, my heart.
Give us some Team Canada facts. That's what we want, Daniel.
Okay. I don't know. What do you guys want to know?
What's the return?
Okay,
Fun
well,
fact,
I
Ben
asked.
Chiarot was not on a World Junior team. I don't know.
He did actually. I know this. He did play for the Guelph Store. It was actually the first name I saw when I went to the arena because the Nighthawks Sleeman Center, best place to go watch a sporting event.
That's
Wait,
when
were you
Alex
as
became
well?
a fan of Ben Chiarot.
Renaud Lavoie just tweeted, wouldn't be surprised if Chiarot was traded to the Panthers. Dude, it happened. I don't know if he messed up the translation to himself there, but I'm not surprised either. It's just happened.
So, okay, since we're waiting, I'm going to ask you, you and Daniel and Mike, a question about baseball.
Okay.
Since it tell me whatever you think. The Jays traded for third baseman Matt Chapman
Mm-hmm.
this morning. What should Blue Jays fans know about Matt Chapman? Daniel, why don't you go first?
All right. He is arguably one of the best defensive players in the American League right now. He has 3 straight Golden Gloves. Not the hottest bat, but that can get there. A lot more coverage with what's already in the lineup, and team control until 2023. Only 28 years old. Gave up 4 prospects, but the thing is, only one of them is considered high end. Does Adam
Sorry,
have
Daniel.
something?
Adam, you know you're sharing your screen, right?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, they're showing us like
Okay.
potential prospects to going.
Keep going, Daniel. I didn't know if you knew or not.
No, that's okay. I know that one time I think I was doing this for the podcast and I forgot my screen was being shared, and I think I was checking like an email or something.
I think so.
Yeah, but thanks guys for not calling me on at that time. But yeah, I think another solid addition for the Blue Jays of keeping a sustainable World Series window open, especially before they have to pay Vladdy and Bo.
Right. Mike.
You know, his bat comes with a degree of uncertainty, to put it lightly. But you know, he is going to make the lives of his starting pitchers, which is arguably is one of the best in baseball, if not the best right now, starting rotation. He's going to make their lives that much easier. He's going to be there's a reason he's won. Let me read here. I'm just checking out his stats. 3 gold gloves, 2 platinum gloves. And he's always at the top of defensive like leaderboards in terms of metrics, because we all know that baseball is the most analytic sport on earth. He, especially too, with the inconsistencies of Bo Bichette at times, this takes off a huge load on him. I think it was worth a trade. I think it's great. He has a very good ability for turning batted balls into outs. So I am very happy with this. Because screw Freddie Freeman, anyways. So
I'll ask you I'll ask you a hypothetical question now. I believe his name is Carlos Borrega. That is who broke the trade for Matt Chapman. I believe he also broke the Semien signing when he signed with the Blue Jays and one other trade. I just can't remember off the top of my head. This morning, or just after they traded for Chapman, he put a tweet out or Instagram post out saying that the Blue Jays were interested in Jose Ramirez, and I believe he plays second base. Should the Blue Jays trade for Jose Ramirez?
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Get nuts.
All right.
The insider should freaking tell us the return.
They
should, yes.
I would say yes, because he's a young star, but it just kind of know what you want to give up in that farm system, because again, like we've talked about it before, that they developed it so well that they have top end guys that you probably have to give up two of them and then some to get someone like Jose Ramirez. So, Gabe Marino, Jordan Gorshans, like those are two guys already that have to be there. And you didn't break the bank with Matt Chapman, but you kind of did to a certain extent with Jose Barrios already. So having these consecutive type of trades to happen is it's going to really affect the farm, but I'd say go for it if you kind of know what you want to do for the next 2-3 years.
Michael?
Some logistics in the sense that are playing in this part, in the sense that he is the only active player on the Cleveland Guardians roster with a guaranteed, like a fully guaranteed MLB contract. And we all know, Ben Chiarot trade call happening between Florida and Montreal right now. Sorry.
Does it have the return?
No. The trade call is happening right now. Adam, it's okay. It's okay.
It's not. I'd like to go home.
I bet Montreal are going to announce it before any of the freaking insiders, probably.
Anyways,
where are the details?
with your hearing Ty Smolanich is part of the return.
That's it, Elliot. That's all you have for us right now.
Anyways, I think Ramirez is Ramirez.
Ramirez.
He was up there, and I remember at AL MVP voting. He had close to 40 home runs, I think, this year. He's been, ever since he broke out in 2016, he's taken the league by force. But if you can, without selling the cupboard, just imagine a lineup of Vladdy Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Teoscar, Lourdes, and then throwing and snagging Ramirez in there as well. Like, how nasty would that be? Come on.
That'd be
the cheat code.
That'd be
cheat code with pitching, cheat code with hitting, and just no relief pitching. So
I know as much about baseball as I do about rocket science, and that still sounds good enough to me. I will ask you, as we're still waiting for the Ben Chiarot details, I'm going to ask you another hypothetical that has nothing to do with hockey. I saw this tweet out there that asked, it was a poll question, and it was, who's more likely to win a championship first? Now, this question did include the Toronto Maple Leafs. I will not include the Toronto Maple Leafs in this question. The Toronto Raptors or the Toronto Blue Jays, who are more likely to win a championship first?
Ooh.
I'm going to say the Blue Jays, because there is the star power there right now. Like, Scotty Barnes might become a star for the Raptors along the way, but I think that we already got a formula of what it meant for a team to win a championship in basketball for the Raptors. And there were so many layers to it. And I think that the development and the management is there. It's just not the same type of pedigree you had in 2019 yet, right? For the Blue Jays, I think that the trajectory is it's on a whole different level where you have star players, you have sustainable assets, you have the pitching now that was one of their biggest problems the last few years. And I've said it before, like, the window is so much bigger now.
We got the return. Have traded Ben Chiarot to Florida for Tyler Samaric, a 2023 first, and a fourth. Holy crap!
And they retain, and Montreal retains 50%.
Wow.
So Bill Zito just went from a good GM to an average GM.
Don't overpay.
Oh, sacre bleu.
Anyways, well, you're asking me the most important part here.
No,
Yeah, I
forget
think the
baseball.
Jays.
He actually got a first from Ben Chiarot. A first. He got more than the Jackets got for Savard. Can't you?
Wow. So
Someone should be
I
fired.
actually undersold Ben Chiarot in a way.
Someone should be
I can't
fired.
believe that. And hey, guess what? The Habs broke it first. I was right about that. Holy crap!
The hockey writers 1 minute ago, Blues should not overpay for Canadian defenseman Ben Chiarot.
Oh, little bomb guy. Look at
Tyler
Team
Smolanic.
USA.
Yo, Tyler Smolanic was good for Team USA. That's a big pickup.
Who cares? I got the first at Baumgartner. How ya doing, bud?
You're really loud.
I don't care. I can't believe they got a
I'm gonna
first.
have so much editing.
This is the happiest day of my life.
That's kind of.
Say it. We can say. Don't stop there. Don't stop in the middle of a
I
sentence.
like to think I've
in a
had some better
podcast.
days outside of.
In a podcast. Finish the sentence.
What's happening? Who's talking? They did it.
Mike.
They did it. They
Mike
did it.
is talking.
No, okay. Immediate reaction. How do
was
you
a
guys
lot.
feel?
That
How
was
do
a
you
lot.
feel?
Someone should be fired.
Turn you down a bit. Oh gosh,
Someone should be fired in
that's
Florida.
hilarious. That's so funny.
I really thought
how
that
that happened.
that 2023 first was going in a Cludger trade. Like,
Yeah, same. I guess it's gonna be Tippett.
Yeah, someone should very much be fired in Florida.
How does that happen?
This is the best day of my life. This is. You know when a Churi Lehkonen scored in Game 6? It's up there. Ben Chiarot.
He's having his Joker laugh. You know this is real.
This is the preview.
Oh my god.
He got more than Josh Mann. He got more than Taylor Hall. He got more than Taylor Hall.
Granted, it was a different time.
Oh,
Very
it's Ben
terrible.
Chiarot. It doesn't matter, man.
Someone
I
should
know,
get fired. Someone should get more than one person should have a stern talking to in
You know
Florida.
what? Here's the thing
No.
with Ben Chiarot, and here's why I'm okay with it.
Doesn't sound like you're okay with it.
He comes from a good family.
Leave.
No, he's a Mike
Get out of
guy.
here.
Hold on.
Leave.
Before you do, there was one of those lease burner accounts that said, "I can't believe the Habs fans would think they get it first." Then the reply saying, "What?" Go on. Sorry. Let me just fuck.
I tweeted about it. If you want to take a look at my tweet,
What'd you say?
just laughed.
Man, someone should be fired.
Daniel, how do you feel?
I'm still surprised because I think all this time, I think on Sunday, everyone's price to them was like highest I'll give is a second. And again, like Adam, you undersold Ben Chiarot for the last few weeks when it came to speculation.
I would just like to say that I want to speak to Habs fans out there. This is because of us. Our campaigning.
Yeah.
It's worth it. You called me. Curtis called me crazy. I'm gonna message him right now too.
This doesn't make him less crazy. It makes Bill Zito crazy.
I guess they think they can go all in.
And they called me crazy.
I'm saying I have his Joker moment.
They all called me crazy.
It's about sending a message.
It's not about money.
One of my dogs are outside
Is
my
it-
room because they're trying to make sure I'm okay. Probably.
I need you to know something about this trade, Adam.
Yeah.
You want to know how I got these scars?
How?
My father was a drinker.
I have a feeling that it's going
And
to get copyrighted.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll copyright that?
It was from my screenplay. They can't
Called
cancel me for
The
that.
Dark Knight.
Yes.
Yeah, but
So-
no
Written
K,
by-
just Dark Knight.
directed by Christopher Nolan.
So even though Ben Chiarot is not Josh Manson, Josh Manson is not Ben Chiarot, I am very much stunned by this. I thought this market would have shifted. I honestly thought they would be coming away with a second and maybe a third.
Yeah.
I'm just happy it wasn't the Leafs because I made some pretty damning statements about things
We
that
literally
we do.
ended originally talking about how we're going to have me on just so I could sit there as Adam laughs at me when Ben Chiarot is a Ranger.
So I messaged Curtis and he got back to me. What idiot gave you a first?
Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't know.
Oh, well, so Ben Chiarot tweeted out, not Ben Chiarot, Dom Luszczyszyn tweeted out about Ben Chiarot that Chiarot is better than his numbers, especially this year's terrible numbers.
Now everyone's
Dom.
changing.
Now,
Really?
Dom.
I'm not.
I am sticking to my take the entire time.
Me too.
Yarn
Someone in
Croak-
Florida
Yarn
should
Croak
have
is
a
the second and
stern.
the third and the seventh, by the way.
I was going to say that Seattle retains 50%. Was a lot of competition for him. Thank you.
Someone in
Mike.
Florida needs a stern talking to. And you
How
know
has
who
that
should give
happened?
it? You know who should give the stern talking to?
Who?
I say Tony Soprano. You're welcome, Mike. I had to bring him up. I had to bring him up.
Shit down. All right. Come on.
Okay, I think that's. I think I.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
You're
It's a
good?
wrap. It's a wrap. I can go home.
You got it out, Adam?
How do you feel,
Yeah.
Adam?
I am so happy. I am so happy, right?
What's
This
on
is
the back of
better
your
than I
shirt?
could have imagined.
What's on the back of your shirt?
It was 3-1, baby. Oh,
But this was the happiest day of his life.
Not that. This was the happiest day.
this is something I can't describe how I'm feeling.
Oh my God! There's
So-
even people cheering outside of Ryerson.
Are we going to start planning
Okay.
ahead of time for
Just
July
joking.
7th, July 8th for the live
What's
reaction to the draft lottery?
Yeah, it's actually just going to be you and Adam.
Oh, Okay,
I actually have a basketball game.
no,
I
that's
think.
up. You're coming. Okay, that's it. Thank you for your list. Thank you, Bill Zito. Thank you so much.
So Zito, you just made my friend Adam have the happiest day of his life. And
Nice.
I'm happy when my friends are happy.
This is a good day. All right.
You're not happy
Goodbye,
when I'm
everyone.
happy.
Thanks, guys.
I'm always happy when you're happy, Alex.